Welcome. So I decided to try a little something different here, and I feel like I might need to explain to you what's going to go on with these Daniel Formica sessions. I also feel the need to do a proper introduction because when I introduced Daniel during our call, I did a very poor job of it. It was such an awkward thing because I was staring at the screen and I was supposed to be talking to you guys, but I was staring directly at Daniel's face and it was just very, very awkward. So Daniel is a professional singer and a singing teacher based at the Central Coast in California, and he can sing pretty much anything. He can sing it light and clean, he can sing it loud and heavy and distorted with a little grit. He has a lot of versatility, and he also has a really diverse training background and some really interesting career experience as well that I think you might enjoy listening to and learning a little bit more about. But I had originally called Daniel in, or invited him to join me in this conversation, because I wanted to bring him in as sort of a subject matter expert on rock technique, which is outside the scope of my own expertise. And Daniel and I have known each other for about maybe 2.5 years now, and as is typical of us, whenever we start talking about singing, when we're on Facebook or Skype, we get kind of chatty, like really chatty. So basically, I have broken down our 2.5-hour conversation into 4 parts, in which we just talk about a variety of topics related to singing, including getting started as a professional and rock vocal technique, and getting more comfortable on stage and being ourselves, and also just some miscellaneous topics regarding technique, including vowel modification and mixed voice and such. And don't worry, no laws were broken here. Daniel was fully aware of the fact that the call was being recorded. So I hope you really enjoy listening in on our conversation. All right, oh, you got to get the little... Hello, hello. That's like 1 mega huge cup.
My second one, usually I only have 1 cup a day, but today I was like, I need some energy with my second coffee today.
Oh,
but
that's
there's
huge.
3 shots of espresso in there.
Oh, well, that'll keep you alert.
I hope so, yeah. I'm a little tired, so.
All right.
Yeah.
So I was just going to say, so I have a special treat for us today, and that is Daniel Formica.
Yeah, I'm special.
You are special.
My mother's so special.
So very special. What's that song?
There's
There's a song where they sing, what's that song? You're special, so very special. I can't think of it.
Oh, I don't know. Special to me, I can't think of it.
Anyway, so here's Daniel Formica.
Hello.
And, hello. He's from yourvocalteacher.com if you want to check out more about him. And so Daniel has been working as a professional singer for 25 plus years. And he has worked for some corporate parties like Nike and Microsoft. And you played at the Olympics in Utah?
And when they were in Utah, how many years ago was that? Like 2007? When was the Olympics in Utah? It was whatever that was, 2008?
I can't remember.
2004? One of those years. But yeah, we played one of the companies that I sing for. It's like a corporate kind of band company thing. We had different bands, so they sent a couple of our bands there. And one of our bands stayed there for like the whole week, and we did 3 shows. No, we were supposed to do 3 shows, 1 got canceled. So we did 1 in a new club called Protocol, and they were actually still building the stage and the flooring for the club for that show specifically for the Olympics. And the girls' hockey team won that year in the Olympics. So they were on stage with us. And they were on stage with us, and I had to wear the gold medal around my neck. It was really heavy. I just remember that, but that was really cool. And then we played in Park City another night, and then we our gig got canceled. We ended up staying in the worst rat motel I've ever stayed in my life. We laugh about it when I talk to those guys. We always like, remember that place? It was called the Zion. It was a dump. We went from like the most beautiful club in Park City, Utah, where to play and stay right on the mountain where the skiers were coming down. And then the next night we were in the biggest dump of all time. It was awesome.
So the moral of the story is if you ever go to Utah, don't stay in the Zion.
Don't stay in the Zion. Or go stay in the Zion for the experience. I mean, I had pink bunk beds.
Like, was it like a salmon
pink? When we knocked on the door to go, actually, we put our key in, go to the door, it was chained and there was someone in the room. So we're like, dude, we got to change. Oh, I gave you the wrong room. We were like, it was horrible. But there was pink bunk beds for 4 guys. It was great.
Nice.
It's
So
really
now,
fun.
is it really true that you also played at Drew Barrymore's more recent wedding?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, it was one. She already been divorced now. She got divorced this year, I guess. But yeah, it was about 4 or 5 years ago.
awesome. See,
And
I love Drew Barrymore, and I think I love her even more now that I know she has such good taste in wedding bands.
Yeah, we did a band called Spasmatics that I sing for. We've done a lot of big celebrity parties. Oh, I didn't even put like Elon Musk. I played at his house like 2 times because he likes to hire us when he has successful, as he puts it. I didn't know who he was when I met him, and he came out into the room. We were setting up, and I just got to do a soundtrack, and he was like kind of looking around. He was on his phone. I'm like, can I help you or whatever? And he's like, I own the house. We were all like, hey, you know. We were like, what's it for? No one else knew who he was.
Oh.
We're like, what's the party for? And he goes, I had a successful rocket launch. And I literally was like, you got to say it again because I'm never going to hear that again in my life. He's like, I had a successful rocket launch. And so we, which is a bad South American accent, so we, we played that party for his rocket launch that he had just did, but none of us really knew we were all Googling, like, who is this guy? And then come to find out it's Elon Musk, and that was really a fun, kind of cool thing that we did. And the Drew Barrymore one was great because Jimmy Fallon got up and sang a bunch of tunes with us, so that was fun. He sang I Love Rock and Roll, and 867-55309, and Jesse's Girl. So me and him were like singing together. That was really fun.
That's so exciting. So I guess it's safe to say that you've been doing this for a long time, and you have a lot of really cool experiences. And so I know you and I were kind of talking a little bit about, where we should go with this so that we're not just kind of meandering and people aren't just kind of peeking in on our private conversation. Just to provide some sort of value for people so that they can actually get something out of this. And one of the things that we did talk about was, maybe we can just jump ahead to that, is talking about maybe, because you have all of this experience and you have been doing this professionally and paying the bills doing so, how would a newer singer get their foot in the door? How did you start out?
Well, I started, I was a guitar player, I wasn't a singer, and then the band that I was in forever, like my original band, I'm the guitar player, blah, 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 we broke up, and I was living in LA at the time. I'm from Connecticut, but I had moved to LA for 4 or 5 years back in the late 80s, early 90s. And then I moved back to Connecticut because I knew I wanted to be a singer. I knew I wanted to be a singer as a kid, but I never thought I could do it. So I just took up guitar. I just said I'll sing backgrounds, and I always said to myself, I had what I called a backup singer. I didn't have a lead singer voice. So that's why I found a great lead singer for the band, which was killer. But I moved back, and then I said, well, I got to learn how to sing because now I'm getting older. I was 24 at the time, and I was like, I want to learn how to sing. So I had taken a couple lessons before I moved out of California because I knew there was no teachers in Connecticut. Like I knew it, and I was moving back. So I met a lady named Gloria Rush, who has passed away since. I think she died of breast cancer, but she was the first real teacher that I had. It only took like 2 lessons before I moved, and because I used to really squeeze, I was a squeezer, and I couldn't sing high without squeezing, and so she gave me some exercises to get rid of that sort of. And then I just went back to Connecticut and just went in my mom's basement and said, "Mom, can I live with you for a couple months?" She said, "Yeah." So I went into the basement and just said, "I gotta learn how to sing." So I picked easy songs. I picked and I love soul singers, so I was like, I'm going to sing Sam Cooke and Otis Redding and these singers because they're easy to play on guitar and I can just concentrate on singing. And I learned Sitting on Dock of the Bay, and then also Bad Company tunes. Paul Rogers, early Bad Company, he didn't sing always that high. So songs like It Feels Like Making Love and these old rock tunes that weren't that high and I didn't have to kill myself. And then I put a little trio. Actually, my buddy owned a bar. My buddy's brother owned a bar. And I said, hey, let me come down and play Tuesday nights. You got nothing going on. It was just a dumpy little bar. And I said, I'll just play acoustic and sing. And my buddy was like, sure. So I went down and I started doing that. And then a friend of mine said, hey, he's a great drummer. He says, I'll play drums for you. I said, oh, cool. And then a keyboard player that we knew decided to do it. So we started this trio band called Toe Jam.
Nice.
And we just did it for fun. I think we froze. Yeah, and then, so that band ended up just playing acoustic cover gigs all over Connecticut and Vermont, New Hampshire, and that's where the money, where I actually started to make money. I was like, oh, can be a little bit of a living. And I was working at a music store, teaching guitar lessons, doing working in the store, teaching guitar lessons, and doing that. And then about a few years into that, I saw an ad in the paper for an audition in New York City. It was in the Village Voice for looking for a full band for this company called Perfect World Entertainment. And they said, the Boogie Nights from Los Angeles. And I used to go see the Boogie Nights in Los Angeles in like 91. I'm like, oh wow, those guys make money. Like I know those guys. Like it's like it's like 4 rock and roll guys, but we dress in afros and we play the music really, loud and strong. It's really cool. It's all disco, 70s disco from Donna Summer to Casey and the Sunshine Band. It's all that stuff. So I went to the audition. I actually got lucky and called, and it was like the last day I could call in. And they said, okay, come to the audition. And I brought a really good friend of mine who was a really good guitar player. I said, let's go audition for this, man. This could be good money. This could be it. We could actually start making some real money being musicians. And we went and we did the audition, and they called us back for head cutters. They called it on a Wednesday. It's like 2 days later. And then we got in they put together 3 bands, A, B, and C, and we got in the A band. And then we rehearsed for 3 days, and then we did our first gig. And that was it. It was like 30 songs, 10 songs, 10 songs, 10 songs. So we were driving back and forth from New York or on the train. I was learning lyrics, because I had to memorize lyrics. I was like learning, getting home, sleeping 3 hours, getting back on the train, going back in to rehearse the songs we worked on, go back that night. So it was 3 days, and then we started gigging, and that was my intro to gigging for a living. That was all over New York, Connecticut, Boston, Virginia, D.C., Pennsylvania, Florida. We did all up and down the East Coast. I put 65,000 miles on my car in 1 year.
Oh, wow.
It was insane.
Did you at least get to write it off as a business expense?
Yeah. I actually got the guy that was kind of promoting us to take over the lease, like the lease on the car, pay the lease, and I did it that way. So I was kind of smart about it. I was like, this car's getting beat, and I'm not going to pay for it. So, and then, so then I did that for 4 or 5 years, and then I went to Atlanta to build a band, put up the same company down there, but it was just too hard. We couldn't get the money, so we were always we were gigging, but we were having to travel to Hilton Head and travel like to all these deep colleges and do a lot of college things, and it was like there's no plane flights down there back then.
Oh yeah.
Now they got Southwest, I'm sure it bumps all over the place, but back then they didn't, so we were driving 10 hours, and I was like, man, I've been doing that my whole life at that point. I was close to 30, I think I was 30 at that point, and I was like, I'm done, so I moved back to Connecticut. Then they called me for the gig. They had a band in Chicago called the Aphrodisiacs, same company. I got that gig, and I moved there, and that's when the money really started to roll. And then I moved back to California after about 2 years of Chicago. And then we have all these other bands. We have the Boogie Nights and the 80s Spasmatics and the 80s metal band called Metal Shop. And I did Zoot Suit Review, which was a swing band. And I learned all that. And then I also got involved in wedding bands. I called a couple West Coast Entertainment and Dubois Productions, these big Hollywood companies that throw big parties and do big weddings. And I just put a friend of mine told me about it. And she said, yeah, just come down to this gig that I'm doing, get up and sing. What songs do you know? I said, no, all the disco, all the no problem. So I went down and sang a few songs, and the band leader was like, yeah, we're going to put you in one of the bands. So then that started that whole other side. So I had the Boogie Nights, Perfect World Entertainment, then I had all these other wedding and corporate bands. And from there, I met musicians and put together little bands to play with during the week. Like Tuesdays and Thursdays, we play a bar, just as a trio. Mm-hmm. So that that could put a couple $100 in your pocket on a Tuesday night and a Thursday night, and then you're making your good money on the weekends. And then that was it. I used to do that until about 3 years ago, and then it's kind of slowed down a lot because I moved from Los Angeles up to the Central Coast, so I got tired of driving in every day. I didn't want to start my whole driving career over again. That's what it is. It's not the gigs are a blast. It's the driving and the flying and the plane flights and all that kind of stuff. It's like, that's what the work is.
Well, I think that's what, with a lot of professionals that, we hear of, when they suffer vocal injury and they're having to cancel shows, I think a lot of it, there's always some technical aspect involved too, but I think a lot of it really comes down to the traveling and the fact that they're traveling all of these crazy hours, they're not getting adequate sleep, they're eating crappy food probably on the road, And I don't think it's so much the gig itself. I think sometimes it's just that it's exhausting. I know, like, when I travel back and forth to see my family, it's a 10-hour drive without children, and then you add like 1,000 potty breaks in between there, and next thing you know, we're on the road for 12 hours to go visit my family, and it's exhausting. And then you have to think, you have to look forward to the drive back a few days later.
And that's exactly what it was. Like, it's in the 2000, say, to 2012, like those years, like, I mean, there was times where I'd have 2 gigs a week in Las Vegas. I was living in Los Angeles, so I'd fly like on a Thursday I would fly to Utah, do a gig in Utah, fly back on the Friday, fly back on the Saturday to Vegas, and then maybe fly to Seattle, from there. So it was always, always on a plane. You're going to catch a cold on a plane all the time. It's just it's a lot, but it's, once you're in the groove of it, you don't lose your voice. It's when you get out of the groove of it, I think, and then you get thrown back into a 4-day week, and you're flying around, and you're just not up to par. Sure, you practice in your house and you sing much, but if you're not in gig mode, you're going to get tired. The first night, you're going to be like, oh, geez, I got 3 more nights to go. It's like, and then you got to just shut your mouth and not talk to anybody, and just drink a ton of water, not talk to anyone, steam when you get to the hotel room. That's all the things that was like, especially as I got older, and I had to do that. When I was younger, in my early 30s and stuff, it was party time. It was fun. It was a blast. But then you got to be like, oh, you got to watch yourself, or you're gonna lose your voice here and there. So, and you're making money. You don't want to do that.
Because then you don't make money when you have to cancel. Well, so then I guess kind of sort of recapping. So you kind of basically, you started out as a guitarist primarily. And then at some point you decided you wanted to become a singer. So what did you do? You took lessons. And I think that was starting out kind of in the right way. And then, from what else I hear, you just sought out opportunities. You went for the auditions.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. And then it's the learning. Then you got to be like better than the other guy as far as like a lot of the singers that I knew in this organization. Jessica Soto, who sang for Journey, he's a 6 singer. He's amazing. My buddy Joe Retta, amazing. Like, these guys are way better singers than I would ever be. They're naturally just those guys. Like, you just go, wow, open their mouth, and you're just like. So the only way that I could kind of compete with that was just do my job, and that was learn the lyrics and the melody. Don't go goofing around thinking you're going to make the melody your own. It's not stick to what the job is. It's not an original band, it's a cover band, and you should do the justice.
And I think that's the expectation. I know if you're going to sing covers, this is how I view it. If you're going to sing covers, there are 2 kinds of people who are going to be listening to you. The people who want you to sound as close to the original singer as possible, and they're expecting the key to be the same, and they're expecting the vocals to sound very similar, and for you not to deviate too far from anything that the original singer did. And then there's the other set of people who are probably a little bit more artistic, and they actually appreciate different arrangements and such. But they're not the people who are necessarily going to be at the weddings or at the corporate events, right? These are the people who are like, they're going to follow you because you have something unique to offer. So yeah, it's kind of, I always tell my students that too, when you're going to sing a cover, you either try to sound as close as possible to the original singer, or try to sound as far as possible from the original singer, because otherwise you get compared. And that's the hard thing about singing covers, because I know the same with me. It's like, if I want to sing an Adele song, I don't sound anything like Adele. I don't have at all the same textures and qualities and colors in my voice that she has. And so the only way that I could possibly sing an Adele song would be to make it my own, to do something very different from what she does with it. Otherwise, people will just look at me and stare at me and say, like, what are you doing?
Right, that's like an artistic choice. I guess my whole thing was I couldn't mimic anyone. I wasn't very good at mimicking. I had friends that could mimic great, like amazing. But my thing was, okay, well, first of all, in the show bands that I did, we had backing tracks that were built, the drummer plays to a click. So there is no switching the keys. It's like whatever key the track was built in, wherever the keyboard player that put the horn parts and all this stuff made, it's like that's the key. And most of the time it was the key of the record, so everybody can learn the songs easier. or a half a step down they would do, because a lot of bands tune to E flat, and that's just more of what they call a concert pitch. So a lot of bands do that. So that would be it. So my whole
your picture froze up.
Take was, well, as long as I just sing it in key, and sing the melody, I don't have to sound like the guy.
Sorry, your picture froze up completely.
Just how, my whole thing was, I wasn't able to mimic the singers, but I was able to just, I could follow their melody, sing in the key of the song, and that's the thing that I could do.
Good. I know some of the other things we talked about, maybe discussing, were things like warm-ups and stuff.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think, just technique in general. I think we've covered a few things, too, with that.
Yeah. With the career thing, it's just getting out there and, just doing it. It's just going out there and going, look on Craigslist, band looking for singer, or wedding bands looking for singer. If you want to get paid, there's ways to get paid. You just got to put yourself out there and just go do it.